Hey there! Welcome to the Flute 360 podcast. I'm Dr. Heidi K. Begay, and I'm a flutist, educator, coach, and podcaster. My God-given mission is to serve you. I am passionate about guiding you, the modern-day flutist, to discover your unique voice on and off the stage. The goal of this podcast is to help you thrive, both as an artist and as a musicpreneur. Go ahead and grab some espresso, your favorite notepad, and let's get to it. Today's episode 218 is titled College and Graduate School Auditions: 6 Tips to Succeed, Part 2. Hey 360er, thank you so much for tuning into episode 218. If you have not checked out episode 217, I highly recommend that you do because that is part 1 of this 2-part series. In E217, I talk about 3 tips to help you navigate your audition season, and today we are going to wrap it up with tips 4, 5, and 6. So on Tuesday, I left you off with your big picture planner, right? We're putting down these big deadline goals for the next 6 months. Now, in tip number 4, we are going to funnel down and start really figuring out all the day-to-day, week-to-week tasks that you need to do in order to reach your 6-month goal. And that is to be invited to work in and to achieve your music degree at the collegiate level or through a graduate program, right? So use a system to keep you organized. I lovingly hound my students all the time and tell them to use resources that are going to aid them with this agenda, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, some sort of planner, your iCalendar, a reminder app, a Trello board, or Asana. These are all great resources, but you have to find the one that works well for you. Okay? Now, I love using my iCalendar, and I absolutely love using a Trello board. If these resources work well for you, great. If they don't, try something else. But I want you to be super realistic with your time. As you've heard me say in the past, time is our most precious commodity, right? And yes, you do have 6 months until your February live audition at X school. But that time is going to creep up on you super quick, right? That happens to me all the time. I think, oh, that's 5 months out. That's 6 months out. I have plenty of time. And then, oops, shoot, oy vey, I didn't put the right steps before me in order to reach that goal realistically, right? So I want you to be realistic with your time. Yes, you've got 6 months. Yay! But again, you have to work backwards, like I was mentioning in tip number 3, right? Reverse engineer it. Realize, okay, February 2nd is my live audition date. What do I have to do in the days and the weeks leading up to February 2nd to achieve that goal where I'm going to feel super prepared at that live audition? So if you've got 24 weeks, let's say, right, 6 months times 4 weeks, 24 weeks. Let's say you have 24 weeks. Again, then funnel it down even further. Say, what am I going to do week to week to reach the big overarching goal? Then what am I going to do day to day to meet the weekly goals? You get the idea. So you can funnel it down to these day-to-day goals in the sense of, I don't know, figuring out how much time you can allocate towards practicing your repertoire. If you are working 30 hours at your job and you're also juggling commitments to your family, friends, eating and sleeping, you might have only an hour a day to really practice well. And that's a great amount of time. You can get super creative with that hour, okay? It doesn't have to be 60 minutes back to back. You can split it up, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening. Again, find something that's going to work well for you. Now, for me, I am a huge night owl. I absolutely love practicing later in the evening. But I know that this isn't really going to be ideal for every flutist. You may be in the dormitory. You may be living in an apartment, right? So again, it boils down to you finding the system that works well for you. But try to be consistent, okay? If you know that realistically you can meet your practice goal through 1 hour practicing every day, 5 days out of the week, great, wonderful. Set a consistent time for that practice session. For example, 9 to 9:30 and 7 to 7:30 p.m. Be really creative with this, but also really establish a routine that's going to work well for you. I know when I was juggling all the things, just like you, as I was preparing for my DMA auditions, I had a 30-minute lunch break. I would take some time to eat a sandwich, eat some fruit, drink some water, and then I would have about 15 minutes left over during my private lesson schedule. In those 15 minutes, I would perhaps play some scales and thirds in the key of G major to really help my technical abilities for Mozart's concerto in G major. No matter what you decide for yourself, whether it is an hour a day, 30 minutes a day, doesn't matter. Be really intentional with your practice. Okay? So along the lines of time management, you can get really creative outside of that 1 hour practice session. Practicing doesn't have to be necessarily you and the instrument, right? It can be you studying the score, you listening to podcast episodes or YouTube channels and their videos, perhaps making a playlist of your repertoire and listening to that information or those recordings through your commute as you're driving from work to home to the school, etc. Be really creative with your time. I know that there is a 360 listener, and his name is Matthew, and he was so kind to mention that as he was preparing for some upcoming auditions, he was listening to the 360 podcast through a similar situation, right? Through his commute, through getting ready in the morning, whatever the case may be. And he mentioned that the information through 360 helped him to prepare for those auditions. He was listening to my guests. He was listening to the solo episodes and getting information and inspiration to bring to his practice session when he was able to meet again and come to his flute again through those practice sessions. So yeah, be really creative with your time and it can do wonders for you. The fifth tip that I would like to offer you is organization. Now, when I say this, I don't want you to get super rigid about it. It's great to have systems, but remember that things will move, things will change, and we as artists and as humans, we need to be flexible and fluid, okay? So yes, put your systems in place, but just know that life is going to be life, and adapting to these different circumstances is beneficial for you and for your planner. So when I say organize yourself, again, it kind of ties into that fourth nugget, right? I encourage you to establish a system for yourself. Seeing the goals before you is so crucial. Now take it a step further outside of the calendar. Establish an organizational system through Dropbox or Google Drive. I think that this is imperative because you're going to have so many moving pieces to this puzzle that I don't want you to drop anything to the wayside. So for me, I absolutely love Google Drive. I love establishing folders and subfolders. So for you, getting ready for this audition season, I would highly recommend that you have perhaps 4 or 5 main folders. And that would include your lesson notes, supplemental learning and their notes, application forms, pre-qualifying exams and that information, and maybe a miscellaneous folder. So in folder number 1, whoever you decide to take lessons with, you can be typing out notes in the lesson or post-lesson just to keep those gems in alignment in your head, right? And purging out the facts about X repertoire or whatever the case may be might be really good to keep all of those lesson notes in one place. The second folder can be all about supplemental learning. So remember how I said to be really creative with your time and listening to YouTube videos and podcast episodes? Take some notes from that material if it's serving you well, right? And dump those notes into folder number 2. By reviewing the notes from folder 1 and folder 2, you can really just reflect on the information and it can help you move the needle forward towards your goal. The third folder can be a great place to collect all the information that you need for your application. Your CV, resume, cover letter, recommendation letters, perhaps some writing samples of yours, and your teaching philosophy. Whatever the school is asking for. Start gathering that information and those documents now because it will make your life that much easier later down the road. And the fourth folder could be labeled as pre-qualifying exams. Now, if you're going into the graduate program, whether it's your master's degree or your doctoral degree, you won't really have to worry about this folder until the next academic school year, right? But it doesn't hurt to start planting that seed now. Start gathering musicology notes, theory notes, oral skills, and their notes, and start putting it into folder number 4. You're going to be really happy that you did 9 months later. And the 5th folder can be whatever you deem it to be. It could be a miscellaneous folder, whatever is going to serve you well. The point in all of this is, and of course, you don't have to go strictly by those 5 examples, but the point is for you to find a system that works well for you. And that's just one example. And the last tip that I would like to offer you today as you're going through this audition process is to have fun and to find the joy through this audition season. Yeah, it can be completely stressful. I totally get it. You're juggling all the things, right? You're juggling family, friends, hobbies, working, practicing, etc., etc. But this is a really exciting season in your life. Try to soak it up, and you're going to be glad that you did. And while you're finding the joy and you're tapping into this amazing season in your life, surround yourself with people who are going to support you. Yeah, you're going to have the naysayers. Okay, whatever. Don't go off and get that degree or don't take that audition. Okay, but if you really feel like this is something in your heart that you are being called to do, then do it. All right? So having the right people in your orbit, the people who are going to encourage you, inspire you, lift you up, is essential for your success. And the thing that helps me in finding the joy through hard work is to focus on the task at hand and not the result. By doing that, I am bringing myself into the present moment. I'm able to really be in the present and not have anxiety about the future, because all you have is the here and now, right? I hope that tips 4, 5, and 6 have served you well. Again, if you need a mentor to help guide you through this process, I would love to be that mentor for you. Go ahead and schedule a trial lesson to see if we would be a good fit moving forward. All of the links are below in the show notes, or you can go to heidikbegay.com/contact and you can schedule your lesson time there as well. Thank you so much, and until next time. Oh wait, I completely forgot. Since I still have your attention, I would love to invite you to the first ever Flute 360 Masterclass. It is going down Saturday, October 8th, 2022 from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I am allocating for 4 performer slots to be available and an unlimited space for auditors. If you would like to be a performer, your deadline to perform is October 5th, 2022, and all you have to do is shoot me an email and let me know that you're interested. My email is heidikbegay@gmail.com, and that's all it will take. No recording, no nothing, just shoot me an email and it's going to be first come, first serve. And if you want to be an auditor, go ahead and click the links below to register, and I can't wait to see you at the very first Flute 360 Masterclass. Thanks!
Let's talk about flute.